Imagine having a simple and effective way to transform your knowledge into cash, to turn your content into cash. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and I'd like to share with you a simple system that you can use. In fact, there's 9 methods you can use. I'm going to share just a few that you can essentially transform what you know into cash. If you're a marketing consultant, if you're a business development professional, if you're someone who has knowledge, experience, and can solve problems for a specific audience, if you do this thing, you can reach out and attract more buyers. Now, of course, today we're using social media, we're using websites. We're not thinking about traditional media like sending postcards or letters, but this method actually works 24/7 using a website and other media in order to generate leads and sales for your consulting, your marketing, your business development efforts. Anyway, first thing I'm going to assume is you know something that solves problems for people. I'm going to use copywriting as an example. A lot of subscribers are copywriters. They provide marketing materials. They create marketing campaigns. They produce content for their customers. And so this strategy works for both you and your customers. It is a way of getting in front of prospective buyers, cultivating their interest in the solutions that you offer, and positioning yourself to be the #1 provider for what it is that they need and most desire. It starts first by understanding the deep desires and needs of your audience. Now, a lot of folks that we've talked with in a private client group or the coaching group, you have a lot of content. I could interview you for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, even 4 days, and still not cover all the knowledge that you have when it comes to the topic of helping customers increase sales. Now, you can do these interviews and have them transcribed, have them turned into audio segments, podcasts, different types of content for your website. But if you don't do this, you'll not know what kind of content to record. It'll just be a great conversation. I'll learn something. You'll share something. We'll both connect. We'll have a great time, but it doesn't put money in your bank account. So what you're first going to do is you're going to start developing an audience. So you're going to have this audience, and then around that audience, you're going to develop problem statements. From those problem statements, you're going to start creating headlines that you'll test with small pieces of content, 400 words, 1,200 words. Not a lot of effort goes into putting it together. It's not a special report. It's not a sales letter. It is simply an exploration of the customer, your specific target audience, where they intersect with the problems and challenges that you can eliminate for them. You'll talk about the benefits. You'll talk about the value of the types of solutions that are available. You'll share the mistakes they need to avoid. You'll provide them lists and tips. But essentially, you're going to test your headlines. So you're going to put these articles on a website and assign them 3 or 4 headlines. You're going to create 6, 7, 8 pieces of social media, all testing headlines. Push them out into the environment. You may even pay to put this out in front of the environment, but you're going to do testing, find out what headlines, what topics, what concepts, what things does your customer want solved for them? What are the problems? You're going to essentially be building an audience around the problems that you can solve for. See, this is kind of the setup. You put out information, could be a letter that introduces a challenge someone faces and the potential for a solution. You ask them to raise their hand. They raise their hand, and then from there, you offer additional information. Could be a consultation, could be a discovery day, could be a special report, sales letter, or some other tool to then get a transaction. Now, today it's easier than ever before doing this online to track from original letter sent out, original article posted, original social media post, all the way down to a transaction. Now, for me, I use a paid consultation to get a transaction online. That way a customer can go ahead, or a prospect can go ahead and schedule the consultation and start filling out their assessment. And then from there, we can meet. But I got a transaction closed out so that I have in my Google Analytics that conversion activity or that goal accomplished. But you can do this on a piece of paper. You don't really have to put a lot of detail into it. As long as you know how many people saw your initial letter, or how many people did you send the initial letter to, how many people raised their hand, so those are the leads, and then of those leads, how many people became customers by providing you cash for service. Now, what do you write about? Well, we want to make sure that we're writing about topics that your audience is interested in. So first, you're going to test those headlines. You're going to test them everywhere. A social media post is a headline, catches somebody's attention, gets them to raise their hand and want more. But we're not going to measure social media. We don't care how many followers you have. We don't care how many people watch a video on your website. We don't care how many people come to your site. All we care about is how many people raise their hands to become leads. Now, the impressions and the number of unique visitors and the followers does help with the math so that you can get an idea of which channels are generating the most efficient leads. However, you can have 100,000 followers and it don't mean nothing if you're not converting them into leads, those leads into customers, and those customers into larger projects. You're going to write for the long tail. So there's this thing called a keyword long tail. So with analytics set up on your site, you're going to start getting some traffic. It's not that hard to get traffic, but you want qualified prospects to the site. So you're not looking for volumes of traffic. You're looking for traffic that lands on relevant pages, requests additional information. They might even opt into an email where you give them a gift. And then based on that gift, they take action, some little tiny action, some monetary action. Maybe they pay shipping and handling to get a book. Maybe they get a paid consultation. Maybe they attend a webinar where they've submitted a question. So it's a little bit more than just showing up for a webinar. They've actually submitted a question, and you're going to answer the question on the webinar. And then you're qualifying. You're getting people into your funnel. You're going to use some images with your copy. So one of the things that I do is because I really don't have a lot of time to be screwing around on the internet. My webmaster is busy at times. I will create content such as this podcast, and I'll go ahead and publish it out there. And then I'll come back in and I'll clean the titles up, and I'll clean the descriptions up and the backlinks and all that stuff. But I got the initial piece of content out. Now, the content syndicates to other websites. This is an important tip. You want to be syndicating your content. If you write a content that you use online and you find converts leads, you're going to take it offline and use it as a space advertisement in a trade magazine. You're going to use it as a letter that you send out to a targeted list. You're going to go ahead and try to have it printed as a guest article on someone else's website. Maybe you rewrite it to make it a little bit more like a feature article. You're going to revisit the same topics that are associated with lead conversion and sales. And you're ultimately going to focus on the desired outcomes of the reader and really build your content around that. Now, again, I don't want you to write a lot of content. I've written thousands and thousands of articles. I wrote a whole book. I've written numerous special reports, 500 pages, 400 pages. I've written all this, but hardly any of it is published in the public. This is not about putting out content for the search engines. This is about getting in front of prospective buyers in a meaningful way. If I dumped all the content I had online, yes, I would probably get a lot of web traffic. And in fact, I used to get about 1,000 unique visitors a day on a few of my websites. I had 20 websites. They didn't all get traffic. But the ones that did got about 1,000 to 2,000 unique visitors a day. But here's the problem. It was a lot of students. It was a lot of individuals from foreign countries that had no intention to do business in the U.S. It had a lot of people that were just frankly unqualified. And they were making the phone ring off the hook. And they were calling in. And some of them did get paid consultations. However, the consultations were so lowly qualified, meaning that individual who I got on the phone and I'm spending time with just wasn't going to buy. So it's not about dumping massive amounts of content online. It's about packaging that content up into reports, materials, and other resources that a prospect requests. In some cases, they even purchase. But they request it, they purchase it, they get involved with it, they bring you out for seminars, they have conversations on the phone, they hire you for small projects, they hire you for coaching, they hire you for big projects, and you build that customer relationship. Now, a lot of people they stop at the website, okay, because the website's so easy to track. The website's so easy to put up there, and you can put it up there and forget about it. But look, I want you to go in there and start mining your analytics. So, for example, you can mine your YouTube studio, and you can find out what are the top videos over a period of time. So every month, you're promoting your top videos. You're making sure that each top video has the right links in it so you can track conversion. You're also looking at your audiences to make sure that the audience you're reaching is appropriate for the avatar you defined. You go through your Google Analytics or whatever analytics tool you have. You look at your campaigns, what works and what doesn't. You've got a sales letter that's converting like crazy. How about reverse engineering that sales letter into lead generation pieces and then create blog content that drives lead generation, create paid search advertising, rent lists and send out postcards, rent lists and send out letters. The key thing that we're doing here is we're feeding a funnel that generates leads. And then once you've got those leads, you start cycling through them, offering something of value. Now here's the important question you probably have. Justin, this costs money. Even if I have a free website, even if I have free email, even if I have something that I'm simply doing that doesn't seem to cost anything, it at least costs time. So how do we most effectively use this time in order to position ourselves as an expert, in order to get in front of a prospective audience who can buy what we offer? And how do we do it over time so that we're building up a library of materials that, again, we can turn that content into cash? Well, one of the most valuable ways of doing it is actually offering that initial sale a paid print newsletter. Now, I know a lot of you folks are thinking, well, I'll just send an email newsletter. Well, folks, right now with COVID, right now, even though people are locked in the house, they're getting burned out on screen time. They're watching too many damn Zoom meetings. They're watching too many videos online. When they're sitting in front of the computer reading your email newsletter, no matter how persuasive it is, no matter how well it sets up the problems that you can help them solve, no matter how great the language is, there are still thousands of other distractions. There's boobs online, folks. There's sports games online. There's YouTube videos, Twitch. There's all kinds of opportunities to be distracted, but when you send them a print newsletter, they can do like I do. Sit out on the back porch and read the newsletter. In fact, a lot of folks I've talked with over the years will take their print newsletters, sit at the dining room table. They'll put some music on in the background. They'll sit down and they'll just look through the newsletter. Now, there's a certain way to do the newsletter. There's certain ways to do these letters that you might send out. And there's even a way to write content, but we just don't have time to cover that today. Like I said, I had 9 tips here to share with you, and I weaved in probably about 5 of those tips to try to give you a little extra value there. But the key is not the traffic. Traffic is not money in your bank. It is leads generated. It is the opportunity to present an offer and those who have accepted that offer who have become customers. Now, again, you can use a real low barrier to entry offer, which could be a paid teleseminar. It could be a paid consultation where you'll sit down and talk with somebody. It could be a paid print newsletter. It could be any of these things. These things are very easy to make a decision about. I'm on a newsletter. It cost me $79. I didn't even think twice about getting it. It's a friendly newsletter. It's very nice. I get it every month. I sit down and read it as soon as it comes. I'm also on newsletters that cost me $400 or $500 a month. I'm on several newsletters that I have calls that I go to and I can ask my questions. I have several newsletters that I'm in, kind of mastermind programs where I've invested in personal development where I actually get one-on-one coaching. Now, these are just the things that I've done because I really want to be in a position or have put myself in a position where I make a high income and I pretty much get to do whatever the hell I want to do. And because we're working behind the computer all the time, and because we're working in this virtual world where you essentially, if you lose the power, you lose the connection, the physical documents really make a difference in connecting. Now, it doesn't have to be a magnificent newsletter. In fact, what I very often ask my clients to do is to create an outline for like a book. So you're going to create an outline for the complete guide to whatever you do. And then you're simply going to write a few pages for that guide every week. And then you'll pick one of those little, it's either going to be a blog article, it's going to be a featured article, it's going to be something. You'll just pick a piece of that and you'll put it in your newsletter and you'll mail it out to your list. It really can be that simple. Well, I'm running up on time here. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. If you want to turn your knowledge into cash, content into cash, it is more than just generating traffic. In fact, generating traffic is the last thing you want. You want qualified leads and red-hot buyers in a funnel that leads them to your services, whether it be marketing, business development, or even consulting services. It's a simple model to use. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, here to help you create more words that sell. And in fact, we're going a little bit beyond what the normal copywriter would do so that you can build a media agency or you can build a consulting agency that helps companies with their business development. Thanks for listening. This has been about your content into cash.